Hello everybody. In this video we'll try to understand what happens when Rahu is in Revathi nakshatra, how this whole energy would manifest. So at first glance, if I see this Revathi nakshatra and Rahu, this combination, this Rahu and Revathi nakshatra, this particular placement, I feel like these are completely opposite energies because at first glance we may feel this because Rahu is it's more about materialism, whereas Revathi is the final nakshatra, which is more talks about spirituality or something related to that. It's a final nakshatra. So it appears to be like that, but what it really means. If you see Revathi is always about completion. It's always about surrendering yourself. And it is also about guidance and spiritual maturity. The word spiritual maturity we use with Revathi nakshatra because it is the final nakshatra and it is in the sign of the final sign Pisces. And then if you observe Rahu is always about desire. It's about obsession. It's about ambition, material hunger. That is Rahu. But see, one important thing I want to tell you, Rahu, some people think Rahu can destroy Revathi's energy here, but Rahu does not destroy this nakshatra's energies at any cost, But what he can do, Rahu can do here is, he can amplify the energy. Rahu can amplify the energy. Rahu can distort the energy of Revathi. And Rahu can give some kind of foreign element, can add some kind of foreign element to Revathi's energy. We'll try to talk about that very clearly. See, first of all, I want to say something about Revathi. Revathi is the last nakshatra. It is in the sign of Pisces. It is ruled by Mercury. The planetary ruler of Revathi is Mercury. And the deity of Revathi is Pushan. Pushan in Vedic literature, if you see, he's a nourisher, basically. He's a guide. He is a protector of travelers, basically. And the core themes of Revathi, if you observe the pattern of Revathi always represents completion of some karmic cycle. You're born here and you're leaving this particular whole materialistic world. That leaving this world is basically the Revathi's energy. So that's a kind of completion of karmic cycle. It's not only just birth and death, any kind of karmic cycle. Let us say you vote to somebody in one particular life, one particular janma, we say. And in this life, in this janma, you're just paying it back. So your karmic cycle for that particular person, for that particular, pending, the pending due it's completed. So that is also completion of karmic cycle. So Revathi energy represents that. And Revathi is very much famous for protection during transition. Because just see, the soul is leaving this whole material world and the soul has to go to some other world. Revathi is ensuring that event, that transition. So Revathi is always treated as an energy which can protect the transition, any kind of transition in your life. When you're transiting from one part of the life to another part of the life. That transition can be protected by Revati's energy. So if a particular person has more Revati's energy, you can say that in that particular person's life, the transition, the change is always protected. So change is always good for that particular person, I can say, because the change is very much protected. And if it is a bad change, you have to do some remedies for that. But Revati's energy always protects changes, the transitions. So good transitions, if you are trying to make some good transition, and if you have a lot of Revati's energy, yes, that good transition is always going to give you some benefit in your life for sure, if you are having some prominent Revati's energy. And Revati is very much famous for compassion, softness, because of that mercurial element. And spiritual refinement is Revati. Letting go of the things. Letting go of the things is Revati, because even the soul is able to leave this material world very, very comfortably with Revati's energy. So letting go of the things is very, very softer, very, very comfortable in Revati's world. And the Revati prominent people can attain moksha very easily. If you have prominent, much more stronger Revati's energy, with other placements are also helpful for your moksha, for your liberation, yes. As Revati's energy is very, very, you can utilize this energy for liberation of your soul by some meditation or some kind of spiritual practices. So Revati is like, the soul packing its luggage before leaving earth. That is Revati, fundamentally. It's very gentle, it's very sattvic. It's something like dissolving ego. When a person leaving this particular material world, how he behaves, why a person leaves this material world at all, the soul is leaving, right? A soul is able to leave the material world and reaching some divine world. So every soul cannot do it, of course. But if a soul is doing it, what it means? The ego of that particular soul is completely dissolved. There is no self-identity that the soul is feeling now. So the soul packing its luggage before leaving earth is basically the Revati's energy. It's something like dissolution of ego is what can happen in the nakshatra Revati. And if you observe Rahu is always about obsession, about amplification. Wherever Rahu sits, it tries to amplify that behavior. It tries to obsess about that energy. It creates some illusion in that energy. It adds some foreign element to that energy. And it tries to break all the prejudices or kind of traditional boundaries associated with that energy. And Rahu gives extreme material hunger related to the energy that it is sitting in. And Rahu always wants to follow some kind of unconventional path. Rahu doesn't satisfy with the traditional path, right? So here Rahu does not reject spirituality at all. That's what I want to tell you. People think Revati is always about spirituality, some kind of transition from materialistic world to the spiritual world. But whereas Rahu is always about materialism, so these two are some opposites, Rahu and Revati. The energies of Rahu and Revati are, something like opposites. And when this Revati's energy is passed through this Rahu, the planet Rahu, Rahu is going to filter out almost all the energy of Revati, and finally you would see nothing, or you would see any kind of minimal matching elements of Rahu and Revathi, right? We may think Rahu acts as a filter which is going to filter out all the spiritual things of Revathi. Generally, people think this way, especially the beginners, but it is not the case. Rahu does not reject spirituality, I'm talking about here, because what he can do here, what is Rahu? So when you understand, the energy completely, then you can say, yes, Rahu is not rejecting spirituality in this case when Rahu is sitting in the Revathi nakshatra. What he does is, what Rahu does here is, he makes you obsessed with whatever it touches. He makes it extreme. He makes it unconventional. He makes it karmically very, very intense. Rahu is a karmic planet. So, it is what Rahu is doing here. Rahu is sitting in Revathi, so he is making you obsessed with whatever he is touching here. So what happens when Rahu is sitting in the Revathi nakshatra? The person having Rahu in Revathi nakshatra becomes obsessed with completion, because Revathi is about completion. And the person having this Rahu in Revathi nakshatra obsessed with spirituality, obsessed with liberation. But it can happen in a very unusual way, very unconventional way, because Rahu is about that unconventionality. Rahu is about that non-traditional methodology, right? So this is not a simple bhakti yoga, right? The person, Rahu in Revathi, is you cannot say, oh, he would adopt some kind of bhakti yoga, some kind of devotion. No. Devotion, bhakti yoga, these are all very traditional, very natural, things. But Rahu is not that. So this is not simple temple-going spirituality, I can say. This is unconventional spirituality. It's a kind of occult interest. The person having Rahu in Revathi can be obsessed with astrology, occult sciences, not only astrology. A person having Rahu in Revathi would go to some kind of foreign spiritual systems. The spiritual system which is not traditional, that's what I want to say. It's not like somebody imitating some foreign spirituality, the spirituality that is practiced in foreign lands. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying the person would not follow a traditional spiritual method. He may invent sometimes a new spiritual method also. Basically, a person is interested in breaking religious structures at some period of time in his life. Or he is very much interested in deep diving whatever is the traditional system, and if the practice done by the people, the traditional system practices done by the people, right, he would question the traditional system. Because question in the sense, he would say why this is practiced this way. He needs a complete detail. If he is not getting some complete detail, if something is missing, then yes, he would not be interested in at all. It's very, very, difficult for this person to follow some kind of religious structure. He would break the religious, the traditional spiritual system. At some point of time, the person may have some confusion between some kind of illusion and enlightenment also, right? Because Rahu is present there. So once the person have some kind of confusion between illusion and enlightenment, then only he would invent something new, right? When he has some confusion, oh my God, this person is saying something about this traditional spiritual system, but there is something missing here. It's not correct. So this particular traditional path has some flaws. That's what this person can deep dive and invent. And if you observe, this particular person may experience some kind of spiritual restlessness in some period of time. The person feel like, I don't belong to this particular place. I don't belong to this particular traditional system. You know, I want to escape from this kind of feelings the person may get. And Rahu makes it obsessive sometimes. This kind of feelings when the person is getting, Rahu makes it very, very obsessive. So instead of calm surrender, Revati is about calm surrenderness. But as Rahu is present here, it becomes a kind of spiritual anxiety, searching without satisfaction. So this person having Rahu in Revathi nakshatra, some period of time in his life, he has this energy of searching without satisfaction, jumping from one guru to another guru because he would not be finding the answers interesting or satisfying from one guru, so he would just jump to another guru. At least, oh my god, this guru is not giving me some satisfactory answers, let me go to the another guru. At least I'm expecting some kind of real answers from the next guru. And he would try to jump from one spiritual system to another spiritual system. At least he would think, oh my god, at least my confusion about one system would be completely solved, my confusion would be gone if I move to another system. So this is what it represents. And another important thing, Rahu creates Maya. We know this, right? Rahu is the element of Maya. So this particular Rahu in Revathi nakshatra may show as some kind of feeling spiritually superior. At some point of time, this particular person feels spiritually superior to even the gurus present in that particular contemporary world. And even he would imagine some kind of spiritual progress sometimes. Imagining spiritual progress. I'm not saying the person really would get some spiritual progress, but he would imagine. And addiction to some kind of spiritual identity, because he is obsessed with spirituality here. He knows something about spirituality. He has some spiritual knowledge, definitely, because Rahu is sitting in the Revathi nakshatra. So, of course, he would be addicted to get some spiritual identity at some point of time in his life. Right? I have seen some people, it depends upon your house placement also. I have seen some people with this placement saying, I'm leaving my job because I want liberation. I don't want to do my job anymore. But actually what he is doing is he is avoiding all the responsibilities of life. Escapism, kind of. So this is what I observed from one horoscope actually. And Rahu generally rules foreign lands. So this placement may give attraction to some kind of mysticism, astrology, tantra, kind of psychic spirituality, I would say, a kind of alternative healing. I've seen people with this placement studying some kind of Reiki healing or alternative healing techniques at some point of time in their life. Whether they are completely studying it or not, I'm not sure, but they are into it. So some people are, they are not very much interested in following some traditional spiritual methods. This is what I continuously observed in many horoscopes. So they try to follow their own path. And Revathi is always about safe travel, right? It safely allow the travel of soul from material world to some other divine world. So that much energy it has, Revathi. So Rahu is always about foreign lands. It's a very strong combination for living abroad. If you are having other placements working for you, like 9th house and 12th house is also good for you. Yes, Rahu and Rahu in this particular nakshatra Revathi can make you live in abroad. Frequent relocations are also possible, if not abroad. Sometimes a person would be living in one city, and after 2 years he would be jumping to another city, and after 2 years another city. It's also very much possible for this particular placement. And a person would be feeling kind of rootless because he is jumping from one place to another. So that is what I can see, because he always feels like, hey, I'm a traveler soul. I'm a traveler soul. I may not be living in this particular place for rest of my life. It's not like I'm living here rest of my life. I want to travel. I may live here for 1 or 2 years, and then I want to go to that place after 1 or 2 years. I don't want to stay at one place throughout my life. That is the kind of behavior you can clearly see in these people. And normally, in Vedic astrology, we say Revathi dissolves your ego very, very gently. You feel that I am so and so person, I am this, I am that. You have this ego feeling, right? And Revathi energy can dissolve that ego very, very smoothly. That is, Revathi is very much famous for this particular behavior. And now Rahu is someone, who doesn't allow any kind of gentle process. So Revathi has this gentle process of dissolving ego, but Rahu doesn't allow this gentle process. This is where I see this are acting as two opposite forces. So the ego dissolves through some kind of confusion, or somebody would betray you, thereby your ego would be destroyed, or somebody would make you some kind of loss in your life, right? So by that you will understand, your ego would be dissolved, or you may have some kind of period in your life which is a period of isolation, I would say. Due to the period of isolation, in that period of isolation, your ego would be completely dissolved. So basically, this ego dissolution, dissolving your ego, completely removing your ego, it happens. But as you have some Revathi energy, but this Rahu doesn't make it very, very gentle. It makes it a bit special, a bit harsh also, right? That can happen in any Mahadasha or Antardasha, that doesn't matter. But Rahu is also taking part of this, right? You would not be seeing Rahu, or you would not be seeing this whole process, this ego dissolution happening in your life in Rahu Mahadasha only. It can happen in any Mahadasha, any Antardasha, but Rahu is making it, basically, right? But it appears to be made by some other Antardasha or some other Mahadasha. But the starting, even in the Mahadasha of other planets, Rahu Antardasha would be laying some kind of seed for this whole process of ego dissolution, but it makes it a bit special, a bit harsh, a bit, even I use some words like betrayal, loss, kind of isolation. These are all a bit painful only, right? So your ego would be dissolving, but the process, the process followed here is betrayal, loss, isolation. It's a bit painful, but still your ego would be dissolved. And some people I observed, some people with Rahu, with having some kind of negative aspect on this particular Rahu. So let us say some Saturn is watching this Rahu, or some Mars is watching this Rahu. They may have, at some point of time in their life, they may have some kind of fake guru experiences, or they may undergo through some kind of spiritual scams, or kind of emotional manipulation by somebody in their life. So this is also possible, because especially when Saturn or Mars are a bit involving here. But that is also very much important, because that's where you will get real wisdom in your life. So that's what I can see. from this energy. And finally, I would say this materialism versus spirituality, the Revathi spirituality versus Rahu's materialism. Is it a conflict? You may think, as we discussed, right? So basically, Rahu amplifies the desire for your liberation. So this all may, initially, of course, initially may chase some kind of extreme materialism, but then feel some kind of deep emptiness at some point of time, and then move to extreme spirituality, right? So it's a kind of obsession to some kind of spirituality at some period of time. That is the whole energy. And this is what I can see. Another important thing is escapism. Escapism is another important energy I observed when Rahu is present in Revathi nakshatra. So you should avoid it, escaping the things, postponing them unnecessarily, postponing for a long time. That's what I'm telling me. Everybody postpones, but postponing for a long time, right? So in order to avoid the negative effects of it, first of all, you need to uh, maintain your washrooms very, very clean in your house. That's one thing. And better, you should observe if there are any plumbing issues in your washroom. So you should always fix the plumbing issues or washroom related plumbing issues, or the clean washroom maintenance. You have to fix them immediately. Thereby your Rahu can also become better. That's what I can say. And other than that, it's a very good placement. If it starts working positively, you can be very good spiritually. You can understand the spiritual depth of the other person, or the psychological depth of the other person. So this is the whole energy I can see. uh, Thanks for watching this video.